Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome to the alpha for Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader by Owlcat Games, the fine folks behind the Pathfinder CRPGs, Kingmaker and Wrath of the Righteous. From what I understand, this is the first fully fledged retro ISO CRPG set in the Warhammer 40K universe. Normally I'm pretty skeptical about these licensed Games Workshop games. Necromunda was kind of a hot mess. But I do have a lot of faith in Owlcat, so I'm very curious to see how this one is turning out. That said, this alpha just dropped. I have had basically no time to familiarize myself with it, but I figured what the heck, let's just do some super casual gameplay, see what this thing has to offer, kick the tires, so to speak. That said, let's jump right in. Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader. Show me what you got. Okay, and right off the bat, we are creating our character. I have to imagine the final version of this game will have slightly more options here, but this is just the alpha. And then, likewise, for difficulty, I really have no idea what I'm doing here. I have not actually played any combat yet. So we're going to stick with normal difficulty. We might bump it up later, if things are going too smoothly. Dark and malign forces lurk beneath the fabric of the physical universe. And that's the end of that. Sector, Coronis Expanse. Location, Von Valencius Flagship. Material, Dossier 17KB on Candidate for Succession. Data compiled by Logus Servitor Nosi 84. Start of Dossier. Dossier 17KB compiled and processed on the order of the Most Gracious Lord Captain Theodora von Valencius. Candidate satisfies the consanguinity criteria. Bears kinship to the Lord Captain in the 7th degree. From a dynastic offshoot in the Scaris sector. Current location of progenitors not specified. Occupation before requisition. Ah, I see. We're still in character generation. And it looks like our starting occupation grants bonuses to attributes and skills. And may also, I suppose, influence dialogue? That's a possibility, though it's not specified here. So, our options are Imperial Navy Officer, Commissar, or Criminal. And of the three, Criminal is the only one that seems to be range-based, which is really kind of my preference. Yeah, we'll go Criminal. With the Rogue and Rogue Trader. Planet of birth and circumstances of early life. Ah, okay. So Planet of origin grants additional bonuses as well, but then also determines what our starting class is. With the Imperial World of Volrus 6, making us a leader. I imagine a largely support class, buffs and debuffs. The Feudal World of Fort Kamgarat would make us a melee-based fighter, pretty self-explanatory. The Forge World of Temakriok 5, which would make us an adept, focused on skills and single target damage. So essentially like a striker. And the Fortress World of Koritsura Major, which would make us a soldier. Right off the bat, I am seeing some decent overlap there. Agility, perception, awareness. I think that's all stuff that we pulled from Criminal. Normally I might lean leader or adept, but we'll keep things simple for now. Which nets us an M40 autogun and a shotgun. Nice. At the Lord Captain's request, the most significant episode in the candidate's biography that demonstrates his personal qualities and performance under pressure has been highlighted. Based on the collected data, this is an unsurprising attack of the 8th city on the hive world Castus Primus, an attack by a pirate armada on the pleasure world Lakura Cove, or a major criminal incident involving void ships assigned to the Astra Militarum. I mean, I've got to say, if you're giving me the option to fight pirates on a pleasure world, I'm probably going to lean into that. That's like one step shy of the penultimate action scene from Fifth Element. The pirate fleet struck after the planet's orbital forces had departed on a secret directive from the Imperial Navy. The limited ground garrison of the Astra Militarum, which had been awaiting deployment, was the world's only line of defense against the rampaging heretics. The candidate and his entourage were in the pleasure districts when a massive landing force made planetfall. Taking advantage of the presence of weapons and loyal associates, the candidate led partisan actions against the pirates with the aim of defending the territory. Sure. Or established contact with the leader of the pirate fleet and passed on information about the location of ground forces and latest call signs. I mean, we are a gun-toting space scoundrel, I guess that would be fitting. Notable qualities exhibited when acting in difficult or ambiguous circumstances: mercantile initiative, diplomatic abilities, moral ambivalence. The qualities exhibited are deemed to be valuable and desirable in a potential successor to the Lord Captain. The candidate's profile has been deemed worthy of submission to the most gracious Lord Captain for further appraisal. With regard to the requisition of the candidate from his current position to serve the needs of the illustrious von Valancius dynasty, the final decision rests with the most gracious Lord Captain. Sector: Coronis Expanse. Region: Cineris Maleficum. Location: Telecos Epsilon. Material: Report. Recorded by Vigdis Suri Atta Tauleman, Vox Master Octavis. Several weeks had passed since the day Theodora von Valancius perished. On that ill-fated day, the rogue trader's void ship was attacked by madmen, hungry to capture the dynasty's prized possession, the Warrant of Trade. Fortunately for the thousands of lives who depend on the protection of their master, Lady Theodora's heir and now ruling von Valancius, Lord Rogue Trader, fought off the villains and protected the dynasty's sacred relic. In his efforts to carry out Lady Theodora's last assignment, Rogue Trader came up against a monstrous plot, which ultimately led to the death of the Imperial world Rykid Minoris. By the God Emperor's will alone did the Rogue Trader escape with his life, when Rykad's star mysteriously vanished, leaving cold darkness in its wake. One last desperate push, and the Empyrean's mantle hid the fleeing souls from the pursuing enemy. However, testing trials still lie ahead. After several weeks in the warp, the Rogue Trader found himself on the fringes of his trade empire, amidst scattered worlds now lost in the cold void at the whim of the roiling warp. The Lord Captain must forge new routes to planets conquered in the past, and fulfill one of the covenants of the Warrant of Trade, to restore that which has been lost. Wow, that is quite a lot to take in. But the impression I'm getting here is that this is essentially recapping a prologue, which we can't play in the current build of the game, which is very similar to how they handled the early alphas for both Kingmaker and Wrath, skipping the early setup stuff to really just kind of drop you right into the thick of things. Lord Captain, allow me to report. Our journey through the warp is coming to an end. Lady Navigator Orselio informs me that we have reached the point where we can translate to real space in the Furibundus system. The Lady Navigator and her pilots are awaiting your permission to begin the process. Make it so? The Furibundus system is home to Footfall, the only Imperium outpost with a functioning wharf on the Coronis Expanse. The tech priests are begging you to have mercy on the machines worn down by the warp, and to allow the servants of the Omnissiah to heal the void ship's wounds in the dock. The prayers and rituals will take a few days, which our astropathic choir will use to establish a connection with the prime worlds of your trade empire, Dargonis, Janus, and Kiava Gamma. We have already received a message that was previously adrift in the Immaterium. Master Zachary Wise has reported receiving an invitation. The Liege of Footfall humbly requests an audience with the rogue trader of the Von Valancius dynasty. According to Master Zachary, the message was tinted with shades of pleading. I quote, "Apparently, the Liege is anxious to meet as soon as possible." Footfall, the place where sin and sanctity go hand in hand. Reverend Hieronymus Doloroso will most likely expect a visit from me. I imagine he'll be interested in talking to you as well, rogue trader. I will be leaving your void ship when we arrive on Footfall, rogue trader. Once that is done, consider the Lord Inquisitor's task complete. Sure. Noted. But before I leave you, rogue trader, Heinrichs produces a small device wrapped in velvet. I was supposed to deliver this to Lady Theodora, but considering the circumstances, I am giving it to you. This is an elucidator, a sacred machine that can translate the languages of distant and lost worlds to Imperial Gothic. It is even capable of handling Xenos languages up to a point. There may be flaws in translation, but the overall meaning should be clear. Why, thank you. So I guess you're leaving us, Heinrichs? The arrangement between the Lord Inquisitor and your predecessor was that I be transported to Footfall, and no further. I dare not take advantage of your generosity and patience any more than I already have, rogue trader. Fair enough. Argenta, what do we know about this Reverend Hieronymus? He's the head of the Drusian mission on Footfall, and one of the most prominent clergymen in the sector. Paying him a visit is a good thing for any loyal servant of the Emperor to do. Argenta lowers her eyelashes. I assisted his mission before I joined Lady Theodora on her voyage. I need his blessing to accompany the new rogue trader of the Von Valancius dynasty. If you wish to have me aboard your void ship, I request that we meet with Reverend Hieronymus. Okie dokie, I will certainly keep that in mind. Vignis, tell me about the system that we're about to arrive in. Probundus is valuable due to its close proximity to the Maw, the gateway to the Imperium. The system is mostly known for Footfall, the main base for merchants, privateers, and rogue traders traversing the Coronis Expanse. Additionally, the star itself is orbited by an Adeptus Mechanicus station, which is off-limits to outsiders. Altar Templum Calixis X-17. I had the honor of tending to this shrine for a few thousand cycles. I suggest you abstain from visiting it, as most tech brothers at the station are engaged in meditative calculations that should not be interrupted. Right, of course. Goes without saying. What do we know about Footfall? It is the largest port and the trading capital of the Coronis Expanse. It has a dockyard that will allow us to inspect and repair the void ship, and it boasts its own astropathic choir, the Coronis Expanse Communications Nexus. Not to mention pirate hideouts, smuggler caches, and forts belonging to a dozen gangs, groups, and factions. In the Coronis Expanse, the Imperium relies on this as its outpost. The fringes of humanity's domain rarely resemble its central worlds. But so long as Footfall serves the God Emperor, insofar as it can, it will be considered a citadel of the Imperium. Although I have heard that the tides it sends are underwhelming, to say the least. Due to Footfall's remoteness, it has developed its own rules and customs. Many of the goods that can be procured there would be considered heresy in the heart of the Imperium, enough to warrant summary execution. Moreover, footfall is the domain of the rogue traders, who disregard certain imperial laws by virtue of the warrant they bear. But footfall's just a temporary stopover, right? What's after that? As soon as we solve the issues plaguing the ship and establish contact with the key worlds of your trade empire, the time will come for your Magnae Exsellsior, the official ceremony of donning the mantle of the rogue trader. It is mostly a formality at this point. You already possess all the privileges granted by the warrant. And yet it is a major milestone in your personal history, the moment your name graces the list of heads of the Von Valancius dynasty. We are all looking forward to that day, Lord Captain. Abelard, what do we know about this Liege of Footfall?
Lad named Tokara is a very peculiar young man. Consider your upcoming conversation a baptism of fire in Footfall's political arena. Such things are not spoken out loud, but Liege Tokara is the appointee of the Kazbalika Mission, the largest robber baron crime syndicate in the Calixis sector. They specialize in the cold trade, the buying and selling of all kinds of Xenos rubbish. Footfall was previously run by a liege who did business with several criminal factions at once, but he suffered an accident. The reins of power were picked up by Vladimir Tokara, whose appointment benefits not only the Kazbalika, but also their most powerful ally in the Coronis Expanse, rogue trader Caligos Winterscale. Vladimir is a slippery yet very cautious fellow. He does not usually beat about the bush and does not play mind games. Perhaps more importantly, he is no fool. Fools do not rise this high in the Kazbalikan hierarchy. Keep all this in mind. You are a rogue trader. You stand above him in status and wield considerable power. Having said that, history has seen cases where the Kazbalikan barons cross swords with rogue traders and emerge victorious. Do not forget that, and remain vigilant.
The Kazbalika, vile tech thieves.
Pascal's Vox barks out the last word like a profanity. So why does this guy want to see me so badly? Not you, personally. He wishes to meet with the rogue trader of the Von Valancius dynasty. Tokara does not know about Lady Theodora's death, and is simply seeking an audience with the powers that be. My gut is telling me that something must be very wrong on Footfall if our astropath managed to read such strong emotion in such an anodyne message.
We have no information, Lord Captain. The broadcast from the Footfall Astropathic Choir was the only missive Master Zachary has received lately.
Very well. Tell the Lady Navigator I give her leave to make the transition from warp into real space. Vigdis begins issuing instructions. The massive ship appears to change with her every word. The bridge is set in motion as hundreds of people start to prepare for the shift to real space, and measured chanting fills the corridors to safeguard the vessel and its crew. Vigdis turns to you again.
One more thing, Lord Captain. No one at that station knows about Lady Theodora's demise and you inheriting the title. Liege Tokara will be informed. It is required so we can use the dock. And besides, he is expecting a personal audience with a rogue trader, and he will not meet with an unknown person of unclear standing. However, there is still the matter of announcing your arrival. We can either arrive on the station with the proper pomp and ceremony, or choose to visit it incognito.
What's the difference? Is one more advantageous than the other?
According to Footfall's unwritten laws, rogue traders enjoy special privileges that exceed even the power of the Liege. However, not everybody chooses to take advantage of them, depending on the situation. Arriving incognito will give you more room for maneuver, while an official visit will allow you to directly intervene in local affairs.
I shall explain, if you don't mind. According to the unwritten rule, every rogue trader arriving at the station has the right to veto any of the Liege's decisions. But there is a catch. The Coronis Expanse is home to several influential rogue trader dynasties. and footfall is where their interests intersect. Of course, that does not prevent certain persons, namely Caligos Winterscale, from subtly pulling the strings in footfall. If you, as a new rogue trader, start your career with an official landing and a parade in your honor, the other dynasties may see this gesture as the newcomer challenging their spheres of influence. I do not see that as a bad thing, necessarily. Old Man Winterscale may take slight offense, Corda will be put on her guard, but you have just risen to prominence, and most people in the Coronis Expanse have not even heard about Lady Theodora's departure yet. It must be made clear that the banner of von Valancius soars as high as ever. If I may, I would recommend arriving incognito. You will have plenty of opportunities to savor the sweetness and the burden of power, but right now is the last time you can take refuge in obscurity. This way, your arrival will not draw much attention, and the people will treat you as a person and not the almighty sovereign anointed by the Emperor. It could turn some situations to your advantage. Those are both good points. Going in with pomp and circumstance could shake things up, rattle a few cages, but as a former criminal, I feel like we would probably err more towards a cautious approach. At least until we get the lay of the land.
It will be done, Lord Captain.
Vigdis bows again.
With your gracious permission, I will return to my duties.
Use the system map in the center of the bridge to issue orders to the crew. Right. That certainly looks like a system map, so that's what we have to go use in order to proceed, I imagine. But yeah, that all gives us a general idea of what's going on here. They definitely kind of thrust us into the midst of the story already in progress. Like I said before, I imagine in the final version of the game there will actually be a playable prologue that covers your ascent to captain. Normally if I were doing an extended or full run, I would want to talk to all the NPCs, collect all the lore, and find out more about the people and things around me. But given that this is an alpha, I feel like we can really just focus on moving the story forward, which in this case means heading to Footfall, meeting with Liege Valdame and Reverend Heronius, and waiting for our ship to be repaired. We've also got tabs for rumors and orders, but it looks like those aren't being utilized just yet. But we'll see if those come into play at some point. It is possible that's stuff that just isn't implemented yet in the current alpha. And there's our abridged character sheet, which honestly looks pretty straightforward. It's been a while since I played the Warhammer Fantasy tabletop game or the sci-fi spin-off. But yeah, I believe this all operates on a standard percentile-based system, scores running from 1 to 100. In this particular case, 30 being our mediocre low average. Which means in our case, of course, as a gunslinging criminal, we are best with agility, perception, ballistic skill, a little willpower on the side. And then skill-wise, we've definitely really kind of pigeonholed ourselves by sort of double or even triple specializing in awareness and demolition, but not much else. Oh, plus we also have a full set of companions already, and they have their own various skill specializations, so that actually makes me feel a lot better about double, triple pigeonholing ourselves there. I imagine these are all characters we'll be better introduced to if and when they get that prologue in place. Oh boy, and we've got a number of special abilities here, each with what looks to be its own set of special mechanics and modifiers. So, you know what? We're not going to worry about that too much right now. That's a lot to take in, especially spread over 6 different characters. We'll just kind of fake it if we end up getting thrown into a gunfight. But for now, we'll just head for football, see what happens. It's entirely possible we might just end up having more extended conversations with the Liege Lord and local Reverend. Guess we'll find out. That's footfall. And that is Alter X17. That's the Mechanicus station our tech priest mentioned. We have no reason to go there, so we'll head straight to footfall. Dock Alpha Row. Party loadout's already set, that's fine. Though I do immediately note that this key art has 2 companions we've yet to encounter. The Space Wolf and the Eldar Sniper. Oh, that was a fun transition. I like that. Your Lordship, forgive me for not welcoming you with the proper obeisance. We were told that you would prefer to arrive on footfall incognito, and so we are trying to attract as little attention as possible. I'm here on the behalf of the Liege of Footfall, Lord Vladain Tokara. The Liege awaits the chance to speak with you at his residence. But if you happen to have other business to attend to, I can serve as your guide and tell you about the station. Cassia's lip curls slightly. This is so familiar. Behind the amber-colored scattering of words of welcome, far less appealing hues lurk, murky and diluted. The looks of someone accustomed to lying and hiding their intentions. Adira jerks her head, shakes it, and hisses through her teeth. Someone's coming, and they're coming for us. Watch out, Lord Captain. Abelard sighs and casually places his hand on his weapon. I'm sorry, who's coming? Judging by the voices, there's a lot of them. Angry. They've got teeth, but they aren't that sharp. Their strength is their numbers. Pray, what are you talking about? What could you mean by such a cryptic She doesn't get to say the rest. Oh, I see. Hey newcomers, how's this for a warm welcome? Welcome to Footfall, suckers! And we are right into it. Whoa, 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 hold on, I don't know what's going on yet. Okay, so there are apparently a million bad guys ambushing us. We're already getting shot up. So let's maybe see if we've got some area attacks. We had grenades, right? So how does this work? I know we're using an action point system. Green is action points, yellow is movement points, but most of these actions seem to immediately use all of one or the other, or both. We have a pretty straightforward cover system, half and full shields, very XCOM-like. UI seems pretty straightforward. Basic square grid, line of sight indicators. And yeah, there's a lot of bad guys. Let's tuck ourselves behind cover, then we'll see if we can line something up. Okay, so you can only take one attack action, regardless of how many action points you have. Oh yeah, look at that range. That is bananas.
Already done. Value has been lost.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that really got some results. We gibbed a guy all the way out at max range. This kind of range-centric, turn-based tactical gameplay is definitely going to take some getting used to. Usually, developers really sort of truncate the ranges on weapons to try to keep fights more localized, more compact. But 24 range on that attack would definitely seem to imply they're using more of like the actual tabletop measurements. You alright there, Cassia? We should maybe get you behind cover.
My ears are ringing. Pain and duty go hand in hand.
Wow, he is just tanking those shots. I did read that armor in this game has kind of the Fallout approach, where it's a combination of deflection and percentage-based mitigation. You have a deflection attribute, which is a direct reduction of all incoming damage, but then the remaining damage that gets through is reduced by a percentage based on the armor's absorption. So the heavier your armor is, the more you can just outright ignore attacks like that, or take minimal damage from them. Though, of course, that does come at a cost. The heavier your armor is, the more it impacts your dodge chance, which is based on your agility. In the case of our main, for example, agility is one of his highest stats. So we would not want him to go all out on heavy armor. Alright, let's patch Cassia. And we'll get Pascal to cover. He's rocking a plasma gun, which is high damage but short range. That is ideal for clearing these nearby targets. Unless he completely whiffs the shot, but that's just RNG for you. He still healed Cassia. I'm not sure what these top meters are. The two flanking the portrait, those are your action point trackers, action points and movement points. But I'm sure we'll figure it out. Yeah, see, Idira here is rocking 5 action points and 4 movement points. Lightning Arc. That sounds fun. Though she's also rocking a sniper rifle. Well, we've got multiple bad guys in close proximity, so let's go for the lightning arc.
There is movement in the Empyrean.
See how that works out for us.
Will do.
Okay, well that worked out great, except for the part where it jumped to our main. So friendly fire is very much a thing in Rogue Trader. Duly noted. Argenta, Sister of Battle. Is rocking a couple of med kits. We should probably have her patch herself. Yeah, let's tuck her behind cover. We'll heal. And then we'll attack if we still have points for it.
God Emperor, move through me. Be the fire in my heart. Injuries will not slow me.
Bolt gun. So medium range, high damage, high penetration. She's also a soldier, like our main. Nice. Okay, we'll take it. Hey, and there's our agility at work. Armor's all well and good, but completely avoiding an attack. That is slightly preferable. Cassie is a leader. She's got weird psychic debuff powers. We also know she's lightly armored because she got torn up during that opening volley. We're not going to worry about leadership stuff just yet. For now, I think we just need to keep clearing bodies.
I have read tomes of military tactics. I am a navigator, not a servitor.
Thanks, Cassie. Who's next? Abelard. We already know this guy's a tank, which makes sense because based on that power mole there, he must be a fighter. So we're going to get him right in the thick of it. Oh yeah, that sort of template attack is just what we need right now. Hi.
I will do my duty.
Nice. Oh, that one lets us attack again. But we have to draw an orthogonal charge path. Which we can do.
Victory is imminent.
Fantastic. So now we know to try to plan around that in the future. Momentum +7. What does that mean? Oh wow. Our chance to hit just tanked, so I think that might be like a recoil mechanic based on how much you move and how much you shoot, and we just fired a burst, so... Yeah, see, our blue momentum meter is almost completely full now. So I guess after a big attack like that one, you would normally want to switch off to a support power or a melee attack, maybe? Because melee might actually benefit from momentum. That does feel thematically appropriate.
Suits my purposes.
Yep. So we will keep that in mind for the future. That's definitely a big mechanic to try to kind of plan your turns around. Ah, and see, that reduced our momentum. Though I don't think I really used it right. But we're getting there. Bit by bit, we're piecing this all together. Can we use dash to reposition you?
Nothing I can't do.
Well, you did not get nearly as far as I was hoping you would, but I guess that works. Alright, so Pascal here has an area debuff, which increases enemy recoil and decreases their chance to hit allies. So let's give that a try. Ah, I see. So they don't do the step out when it's a support ability, just when they're attacking with a ranged weapon. Slightly arbitrary, but fair, I suppose. And we'll take a pot shot.
Running binary override.
Oh, interesting. That was not... So are we So we've either got simulated ballistics, or we've got a percentile chance to hit stray targets behind your primary target with missed shots. That's a nice touch, though it also means we have to be very aware of our ally placement. As we've seen, friendly fire is very much a thing.
Was that you? Or...
Very nice. And let's do a party-wide buff. Wow, we are leveraging the heck out of that agility. And I am assuming that is not what he intended to do, but yes, that is why you should not draw a line of fire through ally spaces. Especially with a shotgun, but hey, you do you.
Faith without deeds is worthless.
If I may.
Let's clear these two mooks, but I don't see any clear charge path for after.
Tried and tested tactics are the best ones. Indeed. Grey hair, sure hand.
Nice. And just hunker down.
Forge ahead!
That other mook inspired me. Let's switch off to our own shotgun. Why can I not fire?
I'll pass.
Oh, I see. You can't use long arms if you're threatened in melee. Yeah, that's just like Necromunda.
Absolutely not.
So we might want to get our hands on a pistol for our off slot.
my purposes. My tactics are flawless.
But for now, we'll just have to get some space.
All too easy.
Much better. He has been disarmed. Okay, we are in good shape here. We've trimmed almost all the mooks. It's really just the leader over there we have to worry about.
Cogitation failed. My vow is to serve.
Expendable mooks, half off. What a deal.
Anything else?
Oof, yeah, and that sniper rifle builds up a lot of momentum. So this game is very much built around alternating or changing up your attack style from one turn to the next. It's all about balancing out the momentum. Though I think having higher momentum also makes you a lot more dodgy, because that would certainly explain why they're having such a hard time hitting our main
Doubt is
or our melee guy.
This is unacceptable. That is not the Emperor's will.
Isn't this a job for the Sir?
At your beck and call. Reduced to dust.
That is some very chunky dust, but sure. A valiant effort, but ultimately fruitless. Oh no, not that.
Nothing I can't do.
Beyond desire goes comprehend.
The shivering young servant looks up at you with horror in his eyes. Emperor, protect me! They killed! They killed! Every time. I warn them and then they go all, Dear Emperor, our Lord and Savior, how could this have happened? Who would have thought? Adira spits on the ground in annoyance. So, does this sort of thing just happen often around here? Is this like a footfall custom? Shooting, yes. Attacks on nobles, not very often. Unless it's the Anvers. They're vicious. Not a week goes by without them killing and gutting somebody. They're wicked heretics. They respect nothing. They follow no rules. Well, fear not. We've taken care of it. Do you know who these particular guys were? Your Lordship. Those guys were Anvers. They're a gang. They're the worst, I'm telling you. They're scared of no one, not even Liege Vladame. He glances around like he's expecting more bandits to appear. Well, now you're just repeating yourself, so go. Go and report this to your liege. Yes, I'm sorry, your lordship. I'll just go report to the liege. They killed her. They killed my lady. Oh, this is terrible. Yeah, I'm gonna miss her, old what's-her-face. I'll always remember the time she asked me what I was talking about and then immediately got shot in the head. It's fine though. I'll take some keepsakes here to forever remember her by. I'll have to study these weapons off screen to see if there's anything there I really want to use. Knuckle Dusters. Grants a +5 bonus to coercion. So that is not a weapon, that's like a skill modifier. Interesting. Let's see if we can equip that. Oh yeah, that goes in our hand slot. Makes sense. We'll have to keep an eye out for other skill boosting items. I'm actually not sure if this game uses RNG based skill rolls or like hard gated skill checks with static numbers. We haven't actually come across any skill checks just yet. And now they've just sort of dumped us on the docks. Oh, but we've got more corpses over there. Let's go loot those. Nothing of particular note. We need no rules or leaders. We are not an organization. We are a force of nature. ANV. I see. I see.
Your senator is always there.
I'll bet that has something to do with what the local lord wants to talk to us about. But we'll get to that next time. We're past time, so I feel like this is a good place to call it, and I feel like we've covered some decent ground. We made our character, sort of. We waded through the opening storyline, got a general idea of what we're supposed to be doing, and we had our first fight, which gave us a good idea of how all this stuff works. So, that said, we'll hit the pause button for now. I'm going to spend some time better familiarizing myself with all those different abilities and whatnot. And we will pick up here next time. Obviously, the game would benefit from a proper prologue and tutorials and whatnot, but I'm sure that's all stuff that we'll get in the beta. Regardless, very impressive for an alpha, very polished. I'm impressed. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and of course, whether you'd like to see more. I do plan on coming back for at least one or two. And we will pick up here next time. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website. And if you'd like to support the channel, maybe see more videos like this one, feel free to push the buttons that do the things, or maybe even check out the Patreon, the YouTube memberships, or the Nexus GG page. As always, links are in the description.